Hello out there and good morning traders. It is July 8th, 2024 and welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight. Let's take a look at our recap here and then we'll update our plan and levels for today. So a little while since our last EMI, but essentially the last area we were kind of paying attention to, we were monitoring a bullish move from this area here, and you can see that we have pretty much been bullish ever since. There hasn't been any real shifts or changes in this market in the last couple of days. It's just been a ride to the upside. So the reality is not exactly the easy situation with a holiday and stuff in between there for the U.S. So a little bit of a tricky spot, but some of the key moments in this move so far to the upside to all-time highs has been really just the bullish transition on shorter time frames that we were talking about with our last analysis, and then there hasn't really been many pullbacks, right? So it's been a very straightforward move to the upside right into a general neutral target area. Then we stabilized in that target area over the holiday, kind of waited around in that zone, but holding above it being a key idea there. Holding above this neutral reference, and then, of course, seeing a lot of opportunities from the lower end from a rotational perspective to hold that, to hold that value. And then we started to see the breakout here on the 5th, so another strong bullish day to the upside. And now that's kind of where we find ourselves here, out in some open space up above in wide open territory on the ES. So let's dive into what's going on for today. So this is kind of a good view to take a look at everything today, because you can see in this view here how far we've come from any real references that we've been using over the last couple of months. All the value, all the information that we have from a technical perspective is all back here, pretty much down below the 5550s, and that's really what we've left behind at this point. So we are, in bullish mode here at this particular prep in this DMI, and we have a general area from where that is true. So that neutral zone that I was talking about in the recap that held up, it's moved around a little bit. Some ranking and distilling had to go on here, but the reality is that if you're looking at this from just like a pure price perspective, right, this is the last area that we have some short-term value in from just price. So if we're holding above that value, we're seeking new values, seeking new highs in doing that. If we're holding below that area, things become a little bit more pullback mode type of situation in a bullish trend. So what's happening here is the best way to describe today's situation is that we're kind of bullish until proven otherwise. The big issue is that we're at all-time highs. We're out in open space. There's not a lot of technical analysis that can be done out here besides saying that we continue to push to the upside in a trending environment. We don't have a bearish setup yet. So that's kind of the overall, main breakdown of what's happening in the ES. And then from, the technical location perspective, we have some areas that we can pay attention to the upside from a neutral perspective where, the destinations are. And you could see overall, even if you're just looking at today's line in the sand type of idea, the risk reward is gone already. The risk reward is already gone. This is where the risk makes the most sense, right? And this is where the reward pretty much is set up. And we're already 80% of the way to the main target. So there's not much left on the table, not much meat left on this bone for us to be wanting to put risk into this market today. The reality is that, back whenever we were looking for bullish moves in here, that was more comfortable from a risk perspective. But I've been talking about the risk reward landscape in this market for the last, couple of weeks, because we've been out at extremes, been out at these highs. But this is what all-time high trading is like. You continue to push some extremes, and you continue to kind of hit up against them, hit up against them, hit up against them, and then you'll start to see things roll over whenever we get into the higher time frame pullbacks. But that hasn't occurred yet. We haven't seen that narrative really setting up for us at all. So it's just been the continuations of this trend to the upside that we've been pretty much monitoring from a technical perspective on lower time frames. So we find ourselves here today. I'm not in a situation where I would say we have an official DMI, where we have a great line in the sand, where we have a really good context to the upside. The best general outlook that you could have in the ES right now is you're bullish until proven otherwise. and you use your technical perspective to prove that otherwise, right? So the what is picture is bullish. We're just not in great locations to remain bullish. We're at all-time highs, continuing to grind to the upside. So I would say that if you were going to, work within the framework of NADRO, within the framework of analysis, you want to stay bullish because that is the what is picture. Um, you just don't have great risk reward left. So it's not the best trading environment for you. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't a way to approach it. Like I said, it's bullish until proven otherwise, and we haven't been proven otherwise yet. So we use our intraday framework, we use our intraday tools to kind of express that bias, and that's really what the public DMI is all about. Understanding where that bias holds true, where it's invalidated, and this area here is, at least in the short term, where the bias would be invalidated if we hold below it. So this is our main list for today. We're bullish above it with scenario 1, bearish below it with scenario 2. We have destinations on either side. You can see that the bullish side of things, the risk reward is kind of running out. So that's something to pay attention to today. And to the bearish side of things, we would have to have a full breakdown of what we've been doing in the last couple of days for the major pullback to the downside, heading back into some value areas that we had left behind. All right, so trade well out there, mind your risk, and have a wonderful trading day.